Here we go with part 4. Now it's back up. And last time we stopped at folk. Now we're moving on to jazz. This is the jazz fusion section, and I only have one album that you can call jazz fusion. This is the Jeff Lorber fusion, Wizard Island. It's from 1980. Now on to Latin jazz. Also, bossa nova and samba can be applicable here. But I'll, reorganize it soon, because this record collection is always, changing. I'm always reorganizing it, and that's another reason why I had to take down the video. I did a little reorganizing here, but I'm still going to make it to the end. So we got Sergio Mendes and Brazil 66's Greatest Hits. It's from 1970. Alright, now moving on to smooth jazz. This is a Chuck Mangione concert, Land of Make-Believe, with the Hamilton Philharmonic Orchestra. It's from 1973, and it's sealed. And we got another sealed Chuck Mangione album here, Bellavia. It's from 1975. This is the Chuck Mangione Quartet Orchestra. And then we got Chuck Mangione, Feels So Good. This is from 1977. We got Chuck Mangione's Children of Sanchez, music written for the Hull Bartlett film, The Children of Sanchez. This one's from 1978, and it's a double album with a nice, thick sleeve. And we got Chuck Mangione's Fun and Games. This one's from 1979. Alright, now moving on to big band and swing. This is, like vocal jazz, and that's what it's, categorized under. So here we got Dean Martin's Holiday Chair. It's from 1965. It's a reissue of an older Dean Martin holiday album. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there's the hole punched there. So it's a promo copy or so, or maybe a warehouse cutout bin copy. I don't know, but it's sealed. We got Frank Sinatra's That Old Feeling. This is one of the oldest long player records that I have. It's from 1956. It's one of his Columbia albums. And we got Frank Sinatra's Come Back to Sorrento from 1958. Another one of the oldest ones that I have. And I got Frank Sinatra's Strangers in the Night. It's from 1966. And I got this for only $1 at the record store, and it's in pretty good condition. We got Nat King Cole, Tell Me All About Yourself. It's from 1960. This is actually a mono copy. Usually the Capitol mono albums are supposed to be sought after. And here we got The Christmas Song by Nat King Cole from 1963. This one's sealed, and it's in stereo, but it's a reissue of an older Nat King Cole Christmas album. And here we have the best of Nat King Cole, but it doesn't have a sleeve, unfortunately. This album was released in 1968, but this is a pressing from 1969, as you could tell, because it's got the lime green Capitol label. But there's the title of the album, the track listing, of course. There we got Perry Como's Dream Along With Me. I think this is from 1957, but I'll correct it on annotations. Like I said, I'm not going to name every year off the top of my head. One of the RCA Camden records. And we got Perry Como Sings Merry Christmas Music from 1961. And this is also an RCA Camden release. Alright, moving on to the new wave section. Also, post-punk and pop, new wave rock can be put under this section too. We got Adam and the Ants, Prince Charming. This one's sealed, still got the price tag on it and the little advertising label here of what hits it contained. We got the Cars' first album, 1978. We got the Cars' Candy-O, 1979. We got the Cars' Panorama, 1980. Here's the Cars' Shake It Up, 1981. And the Cars' Heartbeat City, 1984. Although I think the title's supposed to be right here on my copy. It's on the back. Maybe it's a rare pressing. I don't know. Okay, here we got Devo, Shout, 1984. I need to get some real good Devo albums. This is unfortunately the only Devo album that I have. Sorry about that, my voice, because of the allergies. Okay, Difford and Tilbrook. These guys are from Squeeze. This one's from 1984, and Squeeze is coming up, as they're in this section as well. We've got the Paley Brothers, 1978. And yes, it comes with those photos that it says on the sticker. Okay, now on to Squeeze. We've got Coal for Cats, 1979. Squeeze, Argy Bargy, 1980. Squeeze, East Side Story, 1981. And Squeeze, Sweets from a Stranger, 1982. And we got the Talking Heads, Stop Making Sense, 1984, I believe. Yep, that was right, 1984. sometimes the records, they don't have copyright dates, and that can get kind of annoying, especially when you're trying to research rare records and you don't know the dates. Okay, moving on to, this is the section I'd like to call Other. These are records that are not particularly music, or they could be music, or it's some kind of novelty record, or a documentary. This is the only record I have in documentary. This is The Language and Music of the Wolves. A majority of this album is wolf calls, howls, and sound effects. Very interesting, and it's got a piece called The Wolf You Never Knew, narrated by Robert Redford. This album was released in 1972, and I guess it was released to, warn about, I guess in the 1970s there was a problem with wolves nearing extinction or something. I don't know. Alright, moving on to holiday music. This is music that is intended, these are, artists that record just holiday music, because if I were to put the Beach Boys Christmas album in here from 1964, that would take it out of the Beach Boys section. Or if it was a if it was a Christmas album from a rock band and I put it here, it would be like separating it. It wouldn't work. So this is the Symphonet Music Service's Sounds of Christmas. I don't know what year this came out. I tried to find a date for it, but it couldn't. It's a 3-record box set. Alright, this is what I'd like to call a teaching tool album. This is Drum Drops, The Ultimate Rhythm Machine, Volume 5, the Hard Rock and Roll album. And it's basically an album to practice drumming to. So if you wanted to be a drummer in 1980, or when this album came out, or whenever, 81 or 82, I guess this album was the way to go. You see, my uncle gave it to me, and he got it because he wanted to learn how to drum, and he got that album to kind of help him or so. And now we got Dancercise. I think this predates those Jane Fonda workout tapes. It's from 1980. Interesting. Now onto novelty records. We got Christmas with the Chipmunks, and you're probably wondering, why is this not in the holiday section? Well, there are other Chipmunks albums that aren't holiday albums, so it would be kind of weird to have it in the holiday section while the other Chipmunks albums are not. So this is Christmas with the Chipmunks, and it's from 1961. This is a reissue, though, from 1980, and it's not in the best of condition, but I hope to find an original soon. And also under novelty, we can have family-friendly records, or records based off of cartoons and animations. Here we got Popeye the Sailor Man, musical stories from the original TV scripts, narrated by Harry F. Welch. And I couldn't find a year for this one. I'm assuming it's from the 1960s. Here's the episodes on it, the stories. Alright, and here's the $6 Million Man. Here, 4 exciting Christmas adventures. Of course, from 1978. Now, this is a little section, just Walt Disney records, but these are Disney records that don't really, that aren't soundtracks to any of Walt Disney's films, because, Disneyland released records that weren't soundtracks to films either. Like, for instance, in the early 70s, Disney released an album, Aladdin and His Magic Lamp, but Disney did not make a movie about Aladdin until the late 80s, and it would be released in 1992, so that's what I mean by this section. We got Chilling, Thrilling Sounds of the Haunted House. It's from 1964, and it's, basically from the Disney sound effects library, all spooky sounds, the usual that you would hear on a creepy scene in a Disney film. And we got Goldilocks and the Three Bears, which, to the best of my knowledge, being a big Disney fan, Walt never did this as an animated short film, but I guess he just did it as a record instead. And it's a later pressing. The original came out in '63, as you can see by the copyright date down here, but the Walt Disney font is from the late 70s, early 80s. The corporate font, because before then they just used Walt Disney's signature. And we got Disney's Christmas favorites. This is from 1979. And this is not in the Christmas section because it's a Disney record, and Disney didn't just specialize in Christmas music. And we got Mousercise, the obvious parody of Dancercise, except with Mickey and Friends. And they also released this as a videotape sometime later, around 1985. Alright, now we're moving on to pop music. Just plain old pop, or, pop music that isn't rock. So, this first section is a bit of a mess. This is the section that contains Baroque pop, AM pop, and Sunshine pop. I will definitely break it up pretty soon. I'll take some suggestions, if you will. So here we got, and then along comes the association. This is on Valiant Records. This was before it was released on Warner Brothers, although the inner sleeve is Warner Brothers for some reason. And we got the Association Live. It's a double album set, but unfortunately, no sleeve. That's the way it came. Oh well. We got Barry Manilow Live, 1977. By the way, the Association albums are from 66 and 70, respectively. Barry Manilow Live is from 77. It's a double album. Here we got Barry Manilow's Even Now. It's from 1978. It contained Copacabana, one of his most well-known songs. And we got Bee Gees Gold. The Bee Gees have covered a lot of genres in their career, but right now they're in this section. And, of course, Gold, Volume 1, 1975. No, it's actually 76, according to the copyright date. I thought it was 75. We got Bee Gees' Greatest. This is a big album containing 20 great hits. It's from 1979. This was after Saturday Night Fever, so. And we got Carpenter's self-titled debut album, 1971. Like the packaging design there. And then we got Hurricane Smith. Of course, Beatles fans will know him as Norman Smith. He was an engineer. I think it was during the Help sessions or the Rubber Soul sessions. I'll have to look that up again. I should know this. But, yeah, this is his self-titled debut, and he had a couple minor hits after, after his earlier work. And we got More of the Monkees, the only Monkees album that I have, unfortunately. I'd like to get some more. It's on the Col Gems label. They're basically Columbia and Screen Gems. And here we got more Chad and Jeremy. Oh, wait. Sorry about that. This is the British Invasion section. This is basically all the British Invasion artists that don't include the Beatles or the Who or the Kinks, because they got their own section in the collection. So here we got more Chad and Jeremy. And 3 Dave Clark 5 albums with no sleeves. Return, basically the Dave Clark 5 Return, Coast to Coast, and Weekend in London. I wish I had the sleeves for these. Some of them had some pretty colorful sleeves. And here we got Hold On, Herman's Hermits. It's a soundtrack. Got this for $5 at a record store, as you can see the sticker there. And now moving on to traditional pop, adult contemporary, easy listening. Here we got Andy Williams' newest hits. Sorry about that. We got Andy Williams' Happy Heart. These are from 66 and 69, respectively. We got Everybody's Talking by the Exotic Guitars. Basically, with Midnight Cowboy, people covered it. And this is an instrumental album. This is all guitar, all instrumental. And I put it under this section. I'll probably put it somewhere else afterwards. We got Barbershop New England Style by the Four Statesmen. We got the 50 Guitars of Tommy Garrett, The Sound of Love. It's very similar to the Everybody's Talking album. Oh, this is a gatefold sleeve, I forgot. Frank Fontaine, his all-time favorites, of course. Crazy Guggenheim. This is from 1981. It's an As Seen on TV album, and so is this. 50 Songs You'll Always Love by Irving Fields, but of course the Fabulous Fingers of Irving Fields. We got more Johnny's Greatest Hits by Johnny Mathis. This is from 1959. This is an old LP that I have. We got Kate Smith, Her Very Best, 1980. Another As Seen on TV LP like the two before the Johnny Mathis one. The Monterey Brass, A Taste of Honey, Million Seller Trumpet Hits. This is from 61. It's basically all the standards and hits of the time covered with trumpets. Very interesting. The Ray Charles Singers, Moods of Love. I looked this up and it said easy listening. I would have assumed it would be under the R&B and soul section of my collection, but I guess not. It's a double album, and it was in my recent update. We got the Best of Roger Whittaker. I think it's from 77, but I'll correct it if I'm wrong. And then next after pop is reggae, and I only have one album that can be put in the reggae section. It's Labor of Love by UB40. Features Red Red Wine. It's from 1983.